Thank you so much. I'm going to take a quick picture for my mother. Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be with you all this afternoon. It's such an honor to get to speak to you all, and I hope to have some insightful discussions towards the end as well. So I know you'll be timing me, right? Okay, I was going to set my timer because I'm a stickler for time. So let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so delighted to have this opportunity to reflect not only on our field, where things are going, but I hope to have this opportunity also to frame the way we think about curriculum and competencies. And so I'll present some of my work to you all there, and also some survey work, and also propose solutions and how do we think about program sustainability. So this is the education COSI. So I have the quiz for you, ladies and gentlemen. First quiz question, and I will read it out for you. The 2012 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded for the discovery that mature cells can be reprogrammed to become pluripotent. The Nobel Committee cited two seminal papers in this announcement, one published in 1962 and the other in 2006. So for those of you who are my history buffs, which two scientists authored these pivotal papers? Is it A? How many would say A? How many would say B for boy? How many would say C? Or D? Okay, correct answer there is B. Sir John Gurdon and Dr. Shinya Yamanaka. And that was actually the first time the Nobel Prize was awarded for work that spanned 4 decades. Brilliant, amazing work. Next quiz question. What year was bioinformatics proposed as a field? Now this might get some debates percolating, but that'll be for afterwards, for the after party. A, 1988, B, 2003, C, 2001, okay, and D, 1991. Okay, so again, this may be up for debate, but I will defer to the published work by 2001. So there they proposed a definition and presented an overview of the field for what is bioinformatics. Okay, happy to have discussions afterwards over some tea or coffee or wine. Okay, so data explosion in biology, I think we can all agree that we've seen this tremendous increase. And of course, computational skills are essential. All of us that are here at the conference would agree on that. What this actually looks like is on the business side of things, I know we have some industry folks here, they've actually gone through the rigorous work of documenting just how this global data creation is exploding, essentially. I love this visual out to the right-hand side here, which if you equate 4.7 terabytes, you're looking at about 235 pounds of rice. So when I explain the data explosion to some of my colleagues that aren't necessarily in the field, and I use the rice example or illustration, they get the memo, right? It's massive. So thanks to system biology, we have a clear picture of how complex diseases work, a clear picture. Only we don't, right? We don't. Herein lies the conundrum that we find ourselves in. Those of us that are in the educational space or education and research space, or we're thinking about programs and all of these things, it's shaped by trends, but we also have challenges at the institutional level, and we also have opportunities. So how do we leverage and lean into these opportunities? So as I said, things are evolving, right? As a field, I remember this probably 2.5 decades ago when I was a newbie in the field, and things were still being established. And there was a lot of discussions about nomenclature. Is it computational bio? Is it bioinformatics? Is it mathematical bio? Is it bio? There were lots and lots of that. There's some really amazing published work in the area of just how the educational landscape has evolved. Some of this lies within ontology's work, so you could see there's some decent work there. Some of our colleagues on the mathematics side have certainly dived into the discussions about the synergistic relationship between mathematics and biology, specifically in undergraduate biology education. I'll be touching heavily on that because that is where the pipeline is. So it is essential to cultivate and nurture essentially technologically savvy problem solvers is what I call them, skilled at handling data, but also capable of collaborating across various disciplines. Science isn't done in silos or in isolation. And so I think that is by and large one of the challenges that we continue to grapple with at the institutional levels. So 9 trends that were published back in 2023. Again, these were probably already trending, but it just depends on who published it. And so these specific trends here, we're looking at things that you and I have already known these were trending, right? But again, all there, but you can see everything from genomics, drug development, to machine learning, obviously big data, whether you think of it as big data in biology, it's all the same thing. Why does this matter? And I'll share some data with you following up. But when we think about where the market share is going, and for me, I think a lot about institutional level programs, our degree programs, our curriculum, right? So if you're at that level where you're having to plan these things out and help the institution plan and map out 5 years, 10-year projections, you're looking at things like job outlook, right? You're going to have potentially 18, 19-year-olds that will need to sign up for your courses and things like that. So this is published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the United States. So it is skewed to just the 50 contiguous United States there. But there's, undoubtedly we could pull data from all sorts of sources there. Another thing that I think is very, very interesting, and I've been paying closer attention to it again as we think of our degree programs, curriculum, how the university structures its strategic planning, is here is showing you 2024 college enrollment age. Again, this is skewed for the United States. If you look at the under 18, obviously it's a small pool, majority are between 18 to 21. But if you look down below here, we see 35 years and older who are potentially coming back to university, meaning they're coming for a second career, or they're coming to enhance their pre-existing education. So I love this cartoon. It was actually developed by a cartoonist who became a bioinformatician, and it's brilliant. He has a really excellent piece that was published in Nature. And he says, "There is your problem. You got an extra parentheses in line 18. So much of the way that strategic planning has occurred at the institutional level has really been driven by, or at least in my case, has been looking at surveys. So collecting a lot of surveys. I won't have time to show you all of them, but starting with looking at target population, key constraints with institutions, whether it's a smaller institution, private institution, liberal arts curriculum, Hispanic surveying, or if there are demographics that are unique to that institution. All of those are important concerns, as well as timeline. So in the first set of results I'll share with you are from students captured in that very first university setting phase. So this is their first college level course. So they're freshman students, general biology students, which for us, the dynamics of our institution is that every student essentially, regardless of their major, essentially is in general biology, because you almost think of it as a weed out course, what they call a weed out course, because you come in, you're pre-med, you're pre-vets med, or whatever your particular plan is for professional school, and you have to do general biology. That's just the bare minimum. So all of them are in that particular cohort. The survey questions span things like awareness. So we're looking at how aware are you of quantitative skills, bioinformatics, etc. Secondly is perception. These questions have to do with how do they perceive their own ability to utilize or understand principles and use those skills to apply, and will it help them get a job, right? Will it help them get a job? Will it help them get into professional school? And thirdly, confidence and proficiency. So are they thinking about how to solve questions in multiple different ways? So critical thinking. What about their reasoning skills? Okay. So in this first set, this is student awareness. So captured from 2019, which is on the left-hand side, to 2023. And a number of students are on the y-axis there. And the scale is the 1 denotes strongly disagree and 5 denoting strongly agree. So this actually brought up a very interesting thing that I hadn't actually anticipated when we first started collecting the survey, is that two things. One is that there were lots of students that selected 3. So, and you probably can already imagine the 3 is sort of like you're in between, right? So then the 3, does that mean that you aren't quite sure what the question is, or aren't quite sure where you stand, or aren't quite sure which you agree with? So the 3 presents a little bit of a conundrum because it's neutral. And so this brought up a follow-up to that, which is, can we interview these students? Can we have more integrated discussions with them and learn a little bit more? And that was part of the follow-up to the survey. Next was the problem solving by applying quantitative skills. So here, this is specifically asking the students, are you able to problem solve utilizing quantitative skills that you've acquired, or learning something new that maybe you hadn't thought of using before? And so here we observed 2 things. One was that we found generally students felt that problem solving utilizing quantitative skills was highly important. The follow-up question to that was, are you able to? How comfortable are you doing this? So at the start of the course, their comfort level was much lower, but towards the end of the course, they became much more comfortable with that. Again, because of time, I couldn't show you every single data we captured there, but I'm happy to answer questions. So on the curriculum redesign component, what I've done is much of what we had in our pre-existing curriculum, we've modularized. So we have content now embedded in the introductory level general biology course, and also going through to the mid-level biology course. And these are just your general biology courses, human biology, forensic biology, etc., prior to the upper level courses. Research-based lab experiences has been a heavy area of interest of mine, specifically focusing on real-world data sets, making tools available for the students. And so every student, as part of the degree requirement, has to complete that research. And the research at my institution, we're able to capture 2-fold, so they receive research credit, and during the summer, they also can apply for research internships there. Workshops and collaborative assignments have been a great avenue, and also focusing on faculty development work. One of the resources I think has been very helpful is the design of team-taught courses. That has been an area of interest of mine because, again, I don't believe that we should be working in our own little silos. And so several years back, myself, my colleague from chemistry, physics, cybersecurity, comp sci departments, we all pulled our efforts together and started doing a team-taught course across the life sciences. And there's some published work myself and Prajai Patel, who's pictured here, had on what we call no boundary thinking in AI for bioinformatics and education. And that part of that work has been built into the course. Additional things that I think have been really, really helpful have been incorporating experiential learning. I know some of the NIH folks are here. We partnered with NCBI several years ago on a codathon, and we called it Codathon from the Couch. And this was excellent because students love being able to be comfortable. So when you tell them, oh, you just have to code from the couch, they love that. We did have an in-person component too for that, but this was during the pandemic, so it made perfect sense at that time. And other things have been building on that success with a student-run club, so Bioinformatics Club as well. Other synergistic activities is I'm the director of an international summer program. Myself and a colleague of mine from Sapienza di Roma, we got together and designed a way to really integrate students from both the Italian institutions and institutions in Dallas to be able to learn. And the program is called LEAP, Learn, Experience, Apply, and Practice. And the model is really, really amazing because you have students that may be bilingual, maybe English is a second language, but they're all being taught in English. And that has been a great resource. And then the students work synergistically on a project. That project is then published, and then they can retain that for future purposes. I actually ran into one of the former students here at ISMB. So it's amazing to see they're going on to do really wonderful things. She's working now at EBI, so that's great. Conferences and symposiums. As an affiliate of ISCB, MC Bio's work that I've done there has been focused on the population I call our young scientists in excellence. And so we typically have avenue for students to really have career development types of work. Students can also present their work in a separate session that we call the Young Scientist in Excellence Award show and sessions, and that helps to highlight their work as well. So solutions and sustainability as pertains to programs, because again, for those of us who are faculty having to think about programs, but also think about what the provost needs, what the deans require, we're constantly thinking about sustainability. And so that is a hot button topic that I'm continually thinking about and thinking through. What I'll propose are what I've seen work for me and the things I'm currently implementing. So curriculum updates, being flexible, being willing to adapt is very, very critical. Industry partnerships has been profound. So I partnered with BioNorth Texas, and so now the biotech companies are also invested in understanding our curriculum and knowing where that fits in terms of their pipeline of workers. So again, the students then have a built-in network for industry jobs if they so desire. International collaborations, I think this is a really great area. I'm continually partnering with other folks. If there are folks that are looking to partner with me, I'm so delighted to do that. And I'll be spending my sabbatical year exploring those areas. And then online platforms. I know some of the speakers have spoken about open access tutorials, global communities for knowledge exchange. Several years back, I also published a sustainability guide through Nibbles, work that I had done with Nibbles, and that is really, I continue to refer back to it, even though I wrote it with several other colleagues that you can see listed here, but I continue to reference it and go back to it because again, it's always good for us to learn new things, relearn, unlearn, and learn. So we keep that cycle going. Future of bioinformatics, I think all of us would agree, it's a transformative discipline. And in the market, it demands specialized skills. But we have to be sure that we are capturing that pipeline. So where is the pipeline of students going into the graduate programs, going into the workforce? That is the task of solid educational experiences. So in conclusion, I think bridging the gap between academia and industry continues to remain critical, now more so than ever. Interdisciplinary approaches, thinking about ways that we can partner with colleagues across the spectrum, chemistry, physics, cybersecurity, etc. And fostering that growth mindset and adaptability, I think allows us to have these opportunities for learning and development. So with that, I'll conclude. That I always tell my kids, don't splash water on my laptop. but bioinformaticians can work from anywhere. And with that, I want to say thank you to the organizers, and I'll take any questions you have at this time.
So I feel really awful now. I'm going to have to say we're out of time for questions, but thank you very much